This is the Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and this is the game review podcast of the Brisbane Broncos, who played my Parramatta Eels on Friday night up there at Suncorp Stadium. Yes, who would have ever thought that the Brisbane Broncos would play on a Friday night? But anyway, it was at Suncorp Stadium on Friday night, the 25th of July, round 21. It was in front of 39,057. Now, for you Eels fans that are listening, yes, we could hear you in the crowd. That is for sure. Over the sound of the Brisbane Broncos fans. We heard you. We heard the Para chant. So well done to all those Para fans who turned out on Friday night. It is actually a pretty good turned out game. There is a lot of Parramatta Eels fans in Queensland, and I know that they all look forward to this game. Unfortunately, I wasn't up there this year. I didn't get around to planning it, to be honest. I wish I was up there. I did have FOMO on Friday night. I was missing out because I love catching up with my Queensland Rugby League family and friends up there. It is a great night, you could say. The Eels put on a little bit of an event at Lord Alfred Hotel before the match, and then you walk down Caxton Street past DJ Stew. I think that's his name, DJ Stew. If you've ever seen him outside his house at Caxton Street, he is one hell of a laugh. But and then you go into Suncorp Stadium. Now, to the game, and look, it was a cracker of a game. It was a little bit, it was to and fro, I guess you could say, at the start of the match. It took until 20 minutes for the first points to be scored, and that was through a magnificent try to Sean Russell. How good was that try? I think it was a Mitchell Moses kick, and it was allowed to bounce. Reece Walsh let it bounce at fullback there. Sean Russell, he was jolly on the spot, picked it up, chipped over Reece's head and scored. And it's great to see a chip and chase try. And, you know, well done to Sean Russell, because he does get a lot of criticism for his play, but I thought he played really well on Friday night for the Eels, and I think he has played really well all season, to be honest. And as I said, he does get a little bit of criticism for his non-passing to the Fox, but his defence was pretty solid, I thought, on Friday night, and obviously that scoring that try. However, a few minutes later, or before that try, there was a great run by Joash Papali. He was playing his first game at fullback for the Eels. He has played on the wing, 5/8, and off the bench as well. But this was his first game at fullback, because unfortunately Isaiah Iongi was out, so Parramatta put Dean Hawkins in at 5/8 to partner Mitchell Moses. And as Todd Dorwood said on the Facebook comment, I thought that complemented each other pretty well. He said that he was talking about the goal kicking. Someone did say that I think it was on Instagram, I apologise, that it was actually Para Does Matter _1. He said, I thought the halves partnership between Mitch and Footy Dean went well. Wondering if this is the way forward. Look, I think, just quickly on that one, I think it will be the way forward for the rest of the season. I do, however, think that Dylan Brown will play one more game at home to thank his Parramatta fans, and I really hope he does. I'm not 100% sure if the coach, Jason Riles, will go down that avenue, but I just really hope he does. And I think it'll either be, it won't be against the Melbourne Storm coming up. It will be probably against the Cowboys on a Sunday afternoon, or against the Newcastle Knights in round 27, his future club. I can't really see him playing against Newcastle, although that is usually the game for farewells for players at the end of the season, the last home game. So you never know. We'll just have to wait and see. But it was a great 5 minutes before that try. And as I said, well done to Sean Russell for that one. Zach Lomax, who had a great game as well, he converted that try. Parramatta went up to 8-2 after scoring a penalty goal earlier on as well in the 10th minute. Unfortunately, though, there was an interception by Adam Reynolds. Now, I thought the ball was going to go short to Jack Williams, thrown by Dean Hawkins, unfortunately, and Reynolds has intercepted. I thought it probably should have went out to the back to Joash Papali and then out to, I think, the Fox was on that wing at the time. However, Reynolds snapped it up and his little legs got him to the line. Now, it was a great chase from Will Penasini from the other side of the field, and Will had a great game as well, one of his best games, or probably his best game this season. And it was a great chase. Unfortunately, he couldn't get Adam Reynolds before the line. I actually do think, and let me know if I'm right or what your thoughts are, but I thought the Fox, he came in at the death there, and I thought he probably he slid him over the line, to be honest. But it was a great effort from Penasini to get over there from the other side of the field. Reynolds converted, and it ended up being 8-all. Unfortunately, a few plays later, Brisbane score again, and these were a few missed tackles up the middle. Kobe Hetherington scored in the 32nd minute, and Reynolds converted that one to go to 14-8 with 6 minutes to go in the first half. Now, unfortunately, a few missed tackles up the middle. I think he stepped Jack Williams at one stage, and then bumped off Joash Papali as well at fullback there to run away and score. But look, Parramatta, they showed great resilience, I thought, to get back into the game. Zach Lomax scored his first try. It was Momax, as the fans like to call it. It was a great kick on an early tackle. I think it was about the second or third tackle from Mitchell Moses. Pinpoint accuracy over to the corner. Lomax caught it on the full and scored, and that got the score back to 14-12. Unfortunately, Lomax hooked his goal kicking, and it stayed 14-12 at half with 2 minutes to go in the first half, and that was the halftime score, 14 points to 12. Sue Ellen Smith on the Paracave Podcast Facebook page asked what is going on with Lomax and his kicking for goals. Now, look, I have to probably agree with Sue Ellen there. I think he has struggled a little bit of late in State of Origin and also in club football. Look, he has had some really hard kicks from the sideline. We have seen him nail those ones before. I think on Friday night, one of them hit the post as well. They have been pretty hard kicks that he has missed. Unfortunately, he is usually quite spot on. So, look, I think he will go back to practice in training this week, and it's just something that you just need to work on, I guess, your goal kicking when you are playing first grade rugby league, and goal kickers, they generally do have a little bit of training after the games, after training, before training as well, just to nail that. But you're right, Zach has struggled a little bit. Is he burnt out a little bit as well with a grueling State of Origin series and also club football as well? I mean, we did see a lot of the kicks previous to when Mitch was back in the side go to Zach Lomax on the fifth tackle. It used to annoy the hell out of me. It was almost like kick the ball to Zach and see if he can score on the fifth tackle, and opposition teams work that out. He'd get battered trying to catch the ball as well. Thankfully, on Friday night, when Mitchell was back, there was probably only a couple of kicks for him. There wasn't as many for Zach Lomax. Mitchell Moses, he had a great kicking game, I thought, on Friday night. I think he kicked for something like 747 metres or something like that. It was 17 kicks or something like that, but you could see, obviously, the pinpoint accuracy and... Sorry, it was 22 kicks and 747 metres. Just, he can get the ball higher than Dean Hawkins. That gives the chasers enough time to get down there and make the tackle. I thought the kick pressure from Riley Smith was really good throughout the night, or throughout the game. I thought, that's probably his job to do, but I thought his kick pressure was really good, and on Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam, and also I think Reece Walsh was kicking at one stage there. I think Brisbane's first 3 kicks were from 3 different kickers, so I think the kick pressure from Riley Smith, that was really good. 14-12, I should say, at half time, and look, it was anybody's game. Parramatta, they had to be the next team to score, and look, that was the way it was, with Zach Lomax scoring 4 minutes after a loose Reece Walsh play a few plays earlier, and the experience of Josh Adokar, who I also thought had a really good game, and was probably up there as one of the players of the match. I think for the Paracave podcast, you guys voted, I think, Zach Lomax, but it was really, really tight. I think Zach Lomax, Josh Adokar, Mitchell Moses, I think they all got about the same number of votes as well from you guys, the listeners. So I wish I could have given 3 points to all 3 of them, but I think Zach got the 3, Josh got the 2, and Mitchell got the 1. Because I guess that's what you just expect from Mitchell. But it was great to see him back in form. His first game back in, I think, about 5 weeks or so. And a few plays after that, Joash Papali, he passed it to Mitchell Moses. He passes it to Will Penasini, who, as I said, it was almost like 2022 again. And he passed the ball to Zach, plenty of room. He scored in the corner, and he actually converted that as well. Then the Eels went to 18-14 in front. It was good that they had to come from behind to get into the lead. They showed resilience, which was great. And a few moments later, Will Penasini, that man, as I said, he had a great game, I thought. He had 14 runs, 128 metres, 4-wheel as well. Did a great tackle on Ezra Mann. Big tackle, he lost the ball. Gave Parramatta another chance. Unfortunately, they didn't score then. Brisbane were the next to score, and it was a Reece Walsh. He was in everything, I thought, on Friday night as well. He got out from dummy half, put a step on. I forget who the step was on. And he found Billy Walters, who ran to score despite Josh Adokar trying to stop him before the line. That was after so much good work from Parramatta. It was disappointing to see that happen, but Reece just saw an opportunity. He went for it. And got the ball to Billy Walters. Now, Josh Adokar, I'm not too sure what he was doing after he scored the try, because he was holding Billy down for a little bit. After Billy got free, he did pay tribute to the late great wrestler Hulk Hogan by doing the hand signals to his ear to the crowd, like the late great Hulk Hogan used to do as well. So, a bit of a Try July celebration there There was a high tackle on Zach Lomax after a kick from Moses. Chasing Zach got the ball off a kick from Moses, and he was caught in a high tackle. I thought they may have gone for the 2 points, gone for the kick for goal, but they declined that. They went to go for the try. Now, I did, as I said, I did think they would go for the goal, but I guess they probably thought they were 18-14 they were behind then at that stage, and I thought that they would probably need more points, obviously, to win this game. So they ended up going for the try, and it was the Fox, Josh Adokar, who scored in the corner, and it was his 150th career try. So congratulations to Josh Adokar. And whilst I'm recording this podcast on a Monday, it's his birthday as well. So happy birthday, Fox. Hope you're having a cracker of a day. But yeah, 150 career tries. I think he is the 17th on the list of all-time try-scoring players. I think there was 6 tries at the West Tigers, 96 at the Melbourne Storm, 38 I think at the Bulldogs, and currently on 10, and hopefully many, many more at the Parramatta Eels. So that got the Eels in front, 22 points to 20 with 15 minutes to go. Unfortunately, Zach Lomax missed the kick as well, but that was the final score, 22-20. Now, for 15 minutes, Parramatta showed great defence to hold Brisbane out. It was a nervous 15 minutes, you could say. Every time Brisbane got down Parramatta's end, I was sitting there watching it at home, and I was hoping, just hold on. And look, that last minute of play, now that was a long minute because Shibasaki, I think the ball got thrown to Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh threw it back to Shibasaki, I think it was. Shibasaki put a kick in. Unfortunately, the bounce of the rugby league ball really troubled Joash Papali at fullback. Unfortunately, he knocked on. Reece Walsh was jolly on the spot and went over to score. Now, the Brisbane Broncos fans and the Brisbane Broncos players, the Brisbane Broncos coach, all were elated at that time. I and probably many other Parramatta fans, including those ones in the crowd, were devastated at that time. However, referee, I think it was Todd Smith, he called time off and went to the video, and it was found that Reece Walsh was indeed offside from the kick from Shibasaki. Now, I did see a Facebook post, I think it was, from one of the rugby league sites saying that the NRL had apologised to Brisbane, saying that Reece was actually onside. But look, that's rugby league, isn't it? I mean, you win some, you lose some. From the angle that I saw, and probably everyone else saw, that he was offside. Now, I do understand, and I do know that the bunker do have more of angles at their disposal to look at these things. I mean, the prime example was last year in the NRL Grand Final, Melbourne and Penrith, where I think it was Jack Howarth was denied a try from an angle that you, the viewer at home, did not see, but the bunker did see. So this could have been another one of those cases, but the Ashley Klein, I think, was in the box, and he gave it a no try, and look, devastation turned into jubilation, and Parramatta went on to win the game. They got a penalty late, and they just basically ran down the clock. It was hold on to that ball as tight as you could, and then you would go on to win the game. And they did go on to win the game. And look, it was the 6th win of the season for the Eels, and I did a Instagram live, and I must admit I did get a little bit emotional after that. There was tears in the eyes just talking about that win. it will go down as this season so far, I should say, because there's another, 6 games to go. Greatest victory this season, and probably one in a long time, actually, to be honest. In a couple of seasons anyway. It was just a great win, as I said, to come back from behind at half time last week. Parramatta led Canberra at halftime and then ended up losing the game by a big margin. Well, this was the same sort of thing. We were hoping that Parramatta wouldn't lose momentum in that second half, even though they were behind on the scoreboard. But I thought, well, if they are behind on the scoreboard, but we probably, we saw what happened last week against Canberra, but to Parramatta's credit, they showed resilience and they came back and in that second half and they did what they needed to do by scoring that first try in that second half and get back into the lead, even though they had to get back into the lead again after Brisbane scored to their Billy Walters try. Look, it was a great win in the end. Now, to the team stats, and look, it was sort of a pretty sort of even game, to be honest. When you look at the stats, I mean, possession-wise, it was 51% for Parramatta to Brisbane's 49%. Time in possession, there was only 48 seconds difference. Parramatta had 27 minutes, 58 seconds. Brisbane 27 minutes, 10 seconds, so only 48 seconds difference there. Completion rates, very good from both sides. Parramatta, exceptional, 86%, 33 out of 38 sets. Brisbane, 33 out of 40 sets. Brisbane had more run meters, more post-contact meters. Parramatta had a lot more line breaks, more missed tackles, though, for Parramatta, 40 missed tackles to Brisbane's 30. So, again, that is a concern. When it came to offloads, which Parramatta are known for, I guess, throwing the right one, I guess. Only 3 for Parramatta, 4 for Brisbane. The kicking meters, that was the difference. As I said before, Mitchell Moses, his kicking game was exceptional. 824 metres in total for Parramatta, 629 for Brisbane. But as I said, that was the missed tackles, 1 intercept each on each side. Penalties, Brisbane got more, 7 to Parramatta's 5, 3 each ruck infringements, 2 inside the 10 metres for Parramatta, so Brisbane got a little bit more of an advantage there. 1 on report, I think that was Piakura, I think, for a dangerous tackle. I could be wrong, and I apologise if I am, but I think it was basically one of those third man in ones and at the bottom of the legs. I think it could be him. I'm not 100% sure. Please let me know if it's not, and I do apologise if it isn't. To the top performers, well, as I said, when it comes to run meters, it was Zach Lomax, 22 runs, 158 metres for Zach, also scoring 2 tries as well, kicking 3 goals out of 5 attempts. 3 out of 5 with the boot as well. And when you look at the stats for each and every week, he is definitely up there as the leader for run meters each and every week. Generally takes the second or third hit up from a kick return, and does the hard yards like most wingers these days are doing. So that's what I'm saying before. Is he a little bit physically tired? He started off the season at centre, but now he is entrenched on the wing. So nevertheless, he was right up there as the player of the match. Joash Papali, who had a great first up run from fullback after a Brisbane kick, 14 runs, 150 metres, A lot of those meters would have been from that first kick return. Stepped a couple of players, and boy, did he arrive on the scene at fullback, his first game. Well done, Joe Ashby. Did see how disappointed he was to knock that ball on, and as I said, thankfully it was overturned and Parramatta ended up winning the game. Will Penasini, 14 runs, 128 metres. Dylan Walker, 15 runs, 124 metres. Jack Williams, who is always up in these top performers categories, 16 runs, 115 metres. Also, he did 33 tackles, only the one missed as well for Jack, and really pleasing to see him playing each and every week. And I think now that he is in the back row, it's probably a little bit of a better position for him on the edge. And he has been a great signing for Parramatta this season. When it does go to defence, well, Charlie Geimer. Again, pretty solid game from Charlie in the second row. 46 tackles, only 5 missed, 12 runs, 81 metres. Pretty solid game from Charlie. Jermaine Hopgood, who is now these days playing in the front row, 41 tackles, 0 missed, 13 runs, 84 metres. I think probably Jermaine has probably found his position at the moment at the Parramatta Eels in that front row position. I think that he would probably agree with that. I think these last couple of games have been pretty good, and I think that will be his position moving forward. I think Jermaine has been, I think he would probably agree that he's probably struggled a bit this season. Played 64 minutes on the weekend, so a really decent amount of minutes. 52 minutes in his first stint, and then 11 minutes to finish off the game. So Jack Williams, as I mentioned, another player who really has impressed me since coming back from injury is Sam Tuivasa. 33 minutes in the game, 10 runs, 94 metres, 29 tackles as well. That's a pretty fair effort in 33 minutes. Good to have another big front rower on the bench to complement Junior Paolo as well. Riley Smith, well, look, great to see him back in action after his suspension. He did two stints for a total of 33. He did 33 minutes and then 9 minutes at the end there. 23 tackles, 2 missed. He did one kick, 59 metres. I thought at the time it was a great kick. I thought it might have just gone out for a 40-20, but it was a great kick at the time as well. So another little kicking option at dummy half, which is really, really good. But he, as I said before, his kick pressure on the Brisbane kickers, and that's what he is known for. I guess that's what Coach Jason Riles has given him as a job to do. So I think well done to Riley Smith as well. They were your top performers in the game. Now, that win by the Eels sees them jump up the ladder a little bit. Doesn't quite help their for and against a lot. But nevertheless, 2 points is more important than for and against at this point in the season. They now move up to 14th position on the ladder on 18 points. The Newcastle Knights, Gold Coast Titans and Rabbitohs are behind them on 16 points. So the Newcastle Knights have a bye this weekend. The Titans play the Panthers and the Rabbitohs play the Broncos. So 3 teams there behind them. The Newcastle Knights have a better for and against than Parramatta. So this week on Thursday night, the Parramatta Eels are back at home in Paradise at CommBank Stadium. They take on the Melbourne Storm, who are in 3rd position on the ladder. They had a win on the weekend against the who'd they play? The Roosters, I think it was, and they have one of their big guns out at the moment, and for a few more weeks, Jerome Hughes. Cameron Munster will probably return to that side to take on the Eels at CommBank Stadium. So, look, that'll be an interesting game. Thursday night, 7:50 p.m. I think the Parramatta Eels have a really good chance of winning that game. As I said, being at home, just a little bit of confidence that that win would have given them with the win against the Broncos. That'll give them confidence. Look, the last time it was at CommBank Stadium, it was 32 points to 14. And look, we don't really want to talk about the game in round one. It was 56 points to 18, but Parramatta are a much better side from round number one. So it will be a different result, and I do believe that Parramatta are going to go in with a really good chance in winning that game against the Melbourne Storm. We'll be looking to solidify a spot in the top four. But nevertheless, this is what Parramatta is here for, to win games at home in front of their home fans and members. They do go into the game as outsiders. Obviously, with the Storm in third position, are favourites in this game. But nevertheless, it was a great weekend for Eels fans after getting that win against the Broncos on Friday night. Thank you very much for listening to the Game Review podcast, Parramatta and the Brisbane Broncos. I really appreciate the support. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple, any other podcast platform that you do listen to the podcast. That would be most appreciated. I really appreciate all the support and the messages and the like that I do, and the face-to-face contact. I do see some listeners at games and stuff, so I really appreciate the support as well. The Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para! Alan, how you going, mate? Are you a Para Cave podcast listener?
I am, bro. Okay. It's a great podcast. Everyone tune in. Go
Para!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. See you next time.